This video is one that I have been wanting to make for a very long time now. I keep pushing it off, mainly because I was afraid to talk about such a personal subject, but I'm at the point where I'm confident enough that I can approach the subject correctly and how I really want to. I'm putting a fair warning here that this video is going to touch on sensitive subjects. This is a complete 180 compared to the other videos I've done, but this is something I really wanted to put out there. What is that game to you? That sounds confusing without context. Let me elaborate. Everyone goes through hard times at one point or another. Life is a series of ups and downs, and some of us feel like we are stuck in the downward part of it. There are countless reasons to cause this feeling, but in the end, most of us need something to help this seemingly endless downward spiral. Be that therapy, medication, the support of loved ones, or in mine and many other people's cases, video games. I know that may sound weird for a lot of people. How could a game be a form of therapy? And explaining that is a tougher thing than I initially thought when I started scripting this video. I'm going to go ahead and put myself out there and use myself as an example to get a better understanding about what I'm trying to get across. During the height of my anxiety and loneliness in high school and junior high, I felt as if my life was a stagnant thing. No one around me had the same interests as me, and I quite frankly only had one friend that lived 40 minutes away and didn't even attend my school. I would go home after a long day of school, being surrounded by people I couldn't carry a single conversation with, feeling as if none of them really cared for me at all and didn't really care if I was around. And I would do the one thing that gave me immense happiness as soon as I got home, and that was just playing a video game. Since a young age, video games have been mine and many other people's way of escaping. My reality was so uncontrollable for me that a simple game was the thing that occupied my thoughts most of the day, because that actually gave me happiness. Being forced into sports because my parents feared I wouldn't have a social life made me feel like most of my time wasn't even really mine. Be that all the sports games I was forced to go to, like 3 times a week, practices every day before school, practice after school, I really had very little time that I felt belonged to me. So the few hours I had a day staying up really late was the time I held dearest. But what does this have to do with that game? Well, there was one game that came along during the hardest part of my life where finding a smile and anything to be happy about was the hardest thing to do. And it helped me through it more than anything did or could. I'm sure a lot of people have similar stories, but that game for me is Borderlands 2. This is a game that occupied 90% of my thoughts throughout the day when I first got it. And the simple thought of going home and playing it made me downright giddy. I would rush home, bolt to my room, lock myself in there, and escape all reality. I was no longer the kid who felt left out and like no one cared about him, but instead I was adventuring on Pandora, YouTubing legendary weapon tutorials and sinking deeper into this damn game. Hours went by and it felt like minutes, and I had a smile on my face the whole time, all the way through it. Now again, this probably sounds odd, but when I had no way of escaping my day by day, and when time felt worthless, there was actually always a happy escape I could turn to right next to me. I cannot count how many times I've seen the credits, and I didn't want to count them. I know the issues I faced are small compared to that many others go through, and I'm not trying to make myself out to seem like a pity party or anything like that, but I wanted to get across my experience with this to better highlight what the definition of that game really is. I was happier throughout my entire day because I knew I had something for me at my house. And in the end, I gained improvements in my personal life because I had an outlet for all my loneliness. I had something precious to me, per se. I was able to move past a lot of my worries due to just a simple game. Eventually, instead of dreading all the hours away from home, I simply cherished the ones I had at home. All of this from a game. That's what defines that game for me. And through experiences and talking to friends I have gained throughout my life, they all have similar stories. Finding a game that brought them just pure happiness helped them through times where they felt down and like they had nothing else to turn to. It sounds weird, I understand that, I hold Borderlands 2 dear to me. It is my favorite game of all time, and I promise it will never be passed. If Borderlands 3 is better in every way possible, it still won't mean as much to me because it isn't the thing that saved my life and made me go through my day with a smile. My happiness in life increased immensely because of a game. I got married, I have a daughter I love more than life itself, and I wholeheartedly believe I wouldn't have any of this if it wasn't for a game that made me want to get out and actually experience what life has to offer. I would have been stuck in a rut and a never ending routine. I am not ashamed to say any of this. No one should be. This is the age of the internet. I guarantee that there are people out there who have similar experiences to mine, and if you can relate to this, then please don't be ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Video games are more than just a form of entertainment to me and many others. Yes, yes, they're fun, they're entertaining, they're funny, they're awesome, they're action oriented, comedy, romantic, just every genre you can imagine, but in the end, they're a form of escape, a form of stepping out of my body that I couldn't stand to be in, and being in a world where I mattered and where I was always happy. So I ask again, what is that game to you?